Hello everyone. So, yes, I'm Jamie, I'm 22, and I'm from Glasslough, a small village in County Monaghan. And I'm here today to play a little bit of music for you. You see, in the past 2 years, I've seen firsthand, and probably more than most, how music has the power to transcend division and conflict in ways that sometimes words alone can't. And those past few years have harboured quite a lot of division, conflict, and darkness, from the pandemic to political instability, both at home and abroad. But I do believe in the somewhat cliched term, where there is darkness, there is light also, because it's only a cliche, because it's true. And I believe in it so much so that I named that song Solace after that. In this song, I included restoration in quite a literal and musical sense by design, using minor chords, marrying them into majors, and complementing it all off with a playful, strong melody. But how did I watch that transcend conflict, you might wonder? Well, in quite a literal sense, I'll tell you a little story. I watched this song go to number 2 in the Russian viral charts just before the invasion of Ukraine. And then fast forward a few months, you can understand my complete amazement when I sat down to watch BBC News one night and I watched a young Ukrainian refugee girl who was now living in England play this song that I'm about to play, Solace, and she described how she used music and the piano to, quote, in her words, drown out the sound of Russian bombs. That, as a musician, is something I can't even describe. It's so stark, it's very humbling, but it does show to me the true power of music. And this is Solace. Thank you. You see, history and politics, I believe, are the match to music's fire. And so for my second piece of the night, I'm going to play a piece that I wrote which reflects a darker period in our own history, on Gert the Moor, the Great Irish Famine. This is a song called Into the West, and I composed it having been inspired by art and text which detailed this period in our history, but also through something a little bit closer to home. You see, if anybody's ever been, in the village I'm from, Glasslough, there's an enormous limestone wall which runs through the village. And this was a wall built during famine times by local men and women from the village in return for food and money, which was provided by the local estate owners. This wall is crumbling itself slightly and is in need of restoration, but to me it encapsulates quite well the beauty and the sorrow of that period. And that is something that I very much took inspiration from. And in terms of today's theme, restore, I think it's a really good example of how musicians often form restorative bridges and restorative connections between their present and the past. And I think that the importance and the continued need for that, especially on this island, is something that is so, so vital. You know, making art from the past introduces history to new generations who didn't experience it. And I think, as I said, the importance of that here doesn't really need explaining by me. So this is Into the West. So for my final tune of the night, I'm going to be joined on stage by my grandfather. It's going to be on the tin whistle, and it's going to be The Lonesome Boatman. You see, this is a very beautiful song, which, whilst haunting and melancholic, it does tell quite a beautiful story about a lone sailor on a small boat in quite an unpredictable sea. There is, as I said, quite a lot of beauty in that scene, and it represents the power that exists within solitude and in stillness. But I think the more important point lies in the peril within the scene, and again, how we can relate that to our own situation. You see, whilst there is beauty in a quiet sea, a storm is never too far from the horizon. And I think immense danger lies in forgetting the past, and more so ignoring it and not adequately preparing for the next. I think that we're all lonesome boatmen, and if we are to survive these future storms, we do need to make sure that our boats and that our houses are strong, resilient, and stable in the quiet and in the stillness, when we have the time to properly restore and protect what we have built. But you see, in order to restore, make peace, and thrive in any aspect of life, from relationships to being a musician to power sharing, we do often need to make uncomfortable decisions, choices, and compromises for the greater good. That's the only way in which any of us can move forward, can grow, and can protect our communities from the unpredictable ocean that is life. If we can't do that, very little of that is possible, and I think that we sail forward into those unpredictable seas and into these storms, blindfolded and oblivious to the past. Gur míle mai agad a cardja. Hopefully my grandfather comes on now. This is the Lonesome Boatman.